Hello, this is Leslie Walker-Hirsch for Glass Alliance, New Mexico. And on this cold, sunny day, we have the opportunity to speak with Kurt Nelson. Kurt is the director of the Palette Gallery in Albuquerque and has been in the same location operating as a gallery for more than 14 years. So he's old to this business and knows the ropes. Kurt, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing fine, Leslie. How are you doing?
Really well. Thanks for
Good.
asking. So, Kurt, I don't know you too well, although I have been at many events at your gallery and had a wonderful time. But what inspired you to ever become a gallery owner?
Well, the first thing that inspired me was the fact, and specifically since you're with the Glass Alliance and looking at glass specifically, is I knew there weren't too many galleries that carry glass. And so I looked at it as being a nice competitive edge and something new and different to offer to the marketplace. Uh, Also, when you consider too, or I considered that in terms of showing a contemporary aesthetic, in terms of artistic shape, I think the glass is an ideal medium in which to show it, especially if it's relatively clear or translucent, because then you can get light to go through it, and it really catches a lot of people's attention because of that.
Very interesting. So, not only are you sensitive to the aesthetics of art, but then there's also the competitive edge of having something that not everybody has. And glass certainly fits the bill. And of course, as you pointed out, glass and light are should be married together.
True.
So, Kurt, how do you decide which artists you want to represent at your gallery?
Well, typically we go by style, and I just have a personal rule of thumb. It's maybe a little bit corny in nature in the fact that if I am comfortable enough with the artist and the artist's works where I would like to display the artist's works at my home, then I figure that I like them, I can live with them, because in the gallery, when you're in between the same four walls on most days, you look at these pieces every day. So when they're truly beautiful and they really captivate your attention, they become much more likely to be picked because I think over the course of time we've been able to pick pieces that other people like looking at too. So that's just a good rule of thumb. But obviously we take the marketplace into consideration. We take price points into consideration. Some of these glass pieces are difficult to pack. Some of them are difficult to carry. Some of them are very heavy. That also comes into play too.
Well, that's really interesting. So I know I asked you to select a piece of your glass art to discuss today. And although I know we can't see it because it's not that mobile, but I want to tell our listeners that Kurt will be talking about a piece and there'll be an image of it in the newsletter when you are listening to this video. So, Kurt, what did you pick out today?
Well, what we picked is something that, as much as I've been talking about contemporary, we tried to carry the past to the present. And we happen to have a second hobby here at Palette, and that seems to be mid-century modernism. And as a result, we participate in shows in California, such as Palm Springs Modernism, and we sell and carry vintage radios. And one of the activities that we had great fun with over the last probably year and a half to 2 years was making, or rather designing, and then having new cabinets made for old radio chassis. And in this case, we had a 1936 or a 1937 Spartan radio. Spartan was standing or stood for Sparks Witherington in Michigan, and they were a very famous radio maker. So we had this old rusty radio chassis, and that's all we had to go with. So we had to have the radio mechanically repaired so that it would work and function, because if it doesn't work or function, it just becomes a doorstop or one bookend, and you need another bookend. And then we also had to make that chassis look pretty sparkly, so we had the whole chassis chromed. So it is really very beautiful to look at. We then commissioned Zach Timon, a glass artist that we knew from SOFA Chicago, he had exhibited at a booth across the aisle from us at SOFA for like 2 or 3 years, and we got to know Zach pretty well. And we came up with a engineered design that Zach was able to transform into glass.
Wow.
So what he did was he made glass panels that incorporate the top of the radio and the two sides of the radio, and they're made out of nice blue, very luminescent fused glass. And they have some nice bubbles in them, so you can see some activity there. And it was basically based on a pool theme. So if you can imagine, what we did was the sides of the radio are all of this blue, royal blue color, and it looks like pool water. And then on top, there's almost a gray area that looks like cement, so that it would be the pool itself. So as you're looking through the front of the radio that has the dial, it's almost looking like you're looking underwater.
The radio that plays underwater. I get it.
There you go. It's a
Interesting.
lot of fun. And we've done, just for the completion of the idea, we've also made a radio that has a wooden case and also a metal case. So we're pretty versatile.
Interesting. A jack of all trades, including glass,
Right.
especially glass. So you mentioned that when you're comfortable with the artist as well as the art piece, that influences your own decisions about whether or not you want to represent that artwork and that artist.
Mhm.
So, what can artists do to help you promote their works?
Well, I think one of the first things they can do is, if there is a opening that we're going to have, and they can logistically attend the opening where they're not too far away. They're not from Sweden or Antarctica or Australia, for instance. And sometimes we have brought people in from Australia, but if they can come to the show itself and converse with our patrons and guests, that's really nice. It's nice if they can have good conversations and appear to be approachable and answer questions that people have, because people's questions range from beginning questions in terms of how is this made, what is this made of, to more advanced questions in terms of technique, and also what the compositions stand for, and what influenced or motivated the artist to make a given piece with that composition incorporated into it.
It does make a big difference to people who purchase artwork when they have had personal contact with the maker of that piece of art. I know it does for me. Um, so let me just ask you one more question. If somebody wanted to find out more about Palette Gallery or about what artists you feature in your gallery, how would they get in touch with you?
Well, our formal name is Palette Contemporary Art and Craft, and we're in the Northeast Heights in Albuquerque. And our address for our physical location would be 7400 Montgomery Boulevard Northeast. We're in between Louisiana and Pennsylvania Boulevards, and our zip code here in Albuquerque is 87109. Our phone number is 505 855 7777. Our website address is www.palettecontemporary.com. That's with palette being spelled Palette, and then contemporary. You'd be surprised how many people call and think we're in the box business and want to spell palette the other way. And then my email would be Kurt, Kurt, at palettecontemporary.com.
Well, that's great. I hope a lot of people will want to see some of the beautiful and interesting glass items and other things in your gallery. Kurt, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to talk with me through technology. Isn't it wonderful?
It is. It's great to have this opportunity to visit with you, and I hope people come and visit us, and we'll be happy to help them out and show them all sorts of new pieces.
Great. We'll see you soon, Kurt. So long for me. Bye
Hey,
bye.
take care. Bye bye.